What's up everybody, Sawdust Dave here, and today in Sawdust and Wanderlust, we are making some epoxy and wood rings. Now, although these are out of focus, imagine these just looking super cool and you'd be like, oh my god, I want to make some. So let's do it. Also, some out of focus pendants. I made a video on how to do like a super simple wooden ring, I think a couple weeks ago, and it mentioned that I have been goofing around making these, and so many people said that they wanted me to make this video, so had to do it to them. Let's build them.
Look at the way you sleep, I know I'm home.
To start this project out, I get some oak from Home Depot. They sell these little strips, they're around $4. I take a handsaw and do a little relief cut all the way around the piece so that once you're bending it back and forth, it's got a place where it wants to break. Hook it up in the vise and bend it back and forth. Now, it doesn't always do exactly what you want. Sometimes it actually does the exact opposite, but you should have enough in that one piece to do several, so don't stress it if you completely mess it up. Once you've gotten your broken piece of wood, I like to break out the paint. I use a few different greens to kind of give it a natural landscape with different depths and different color greens in there. You can use blue and white, paint in some rivers as well. And then recently I started going to Michael's and getting these little mini modeling kind of craft kits, and they've got flowers and foliage and snow and a bunch of other cool things you can throw in there to make it look even more like a natural landscape. After you've got it painted and looking the way you want to take some packing tape and wrap it really firmly against the sides so that the epoxy is not going to try to seep out. And then just for extra precaution, I take more tape and wrap it from the underside. And then with epoxy, what you want to do is I pour clear coat in there first and get it as high up as I can, because once you mix those other epoxies in with the pigments, those are going to be a little heavier and denser than the clear. So you want to let the clear dry maybe a minute or two, kind of harden up a little bit, and then start pouring the other stuff in there. And then you can take either toothpick or syringes and kind of move it all around, or suck up some epoxy in a syringe and kind of squirt it around. After you've let the epoxy harden and cure for at least a day, I'd suggest either 2 or 3 just to be safe. You want to draw out your rough ring shape on that ring blank that you've got. Take a little center punch and pop a little hole in there so the drill bit's got somewhere it wants to grab onto, and then take a drill bit close to your ring size, maybe a little bit smaller, and drill into the wood. And then it's going to be time for surfacing. I take it to the belt sander and hit it with usually like an 80 or 100 to really help remove a lot of that excess material. From there, I start working on the inside of the ring, so that way when I'm finishing the shape of it, I'm not going to get too close to the inside before having it fit perfect. And then I take my bandsaw and I trim it even closer so that it's just less sanding that I have to do. And here you're actually going to see my old bandsaw that I got break. I think I blew a tire on it. I'm just going to have to go ahead and fix that up, but that happens. I take it back to the belt sander and I use this circular sanding pad on the side with usually like 180, 220 grit sandpaper, something that's going to remove some material but not take too much off since I'm getting pretty close to the final shape here. And then I use different random angles straight on, press it straight into the pad, and that's what helps give it that kind of gem geodesic shape. Once all that's done, I go ahead and take my Dremel tool and round over all the sharp edges and sides. And then I take a wet rag and I wipe the whole thing down. It's nice because it gives me a little preview through the epoxy of how it's going to look, as well as wetting the wood so it raises all the grain. So then I can do my final sanding with 400, maybe 600 grit pad. Just hand sand it, knock down all the little nibs that pop up from it. Get the inside especially. And then to finish it off, I used to spend hours sanding, going from basically like 400 grit all the way to I think 12,000 grit with micro mesh pads. And the problem with that is it takes so long, and usually with the sanding you got to do it on each different face and not round over those nice clean lines. So what I've actually found to be the absolute easiest thing is just taking some more epoxy, mixing it together, and then using a small paintbrush and painting over it, because that's gonna fill all of those cracks and scratches and any imperfections and make it nice and clear. Making the pendants exactly the same as making the ring, except for instead of drilling that hole for your finger, you're just going to be slicing that piece up into a few different pieces and using a little bit more focused sanding and shaping to turn each piece into its own crystal looking geodesic shape. Again, using epoxy to paint the finish on, doing it 1/2 at a time so that it can hang and dry without the epoxy getting stuck to the tape. With these cool mini little magical landscapes, I like to add in some fun pigments such as photochromic, where it changes colors when it touches the sunlight, or photoluminescent, where it's charged by the sun and then it glows in the dark. Just adds that extra element of mystery and magic to each piece. And that's basically it. I hope this project wasn't too difficult for anybody. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments below and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. I hope that you really like this project and that it resonated with you. See ya.